Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode 455 at scavengerlife.com.
Hello, how are you? You are very welcome to be here today.
Yeah, yes.
That's a British doctor. What's his name?
James Campbell.
James Campbell, yeah. He's on YouTube. He does
coronavirus updates every day.
Right.
Since January?
Yeah, a friend of ours turned him on to us a while ago, and he's good. He's very calm, level-headed. Factual, like a doctor. It's good. So anyway, just Google him. John Campbell.
John Campbell, not James Campbell.
Yes. So last week, so this is, if you're hearing this podcast, over a period of time, we are definitely not the place to come to for your COVID-19 news because, the news is changing daily. Like a week ago, we were just talking about our experience or our feelings of the COVID-19, and someone on the forum was like, we're not taking it seriously enough, or, we don't understand how bad it is.
Yeah.
And are we taking this thing serious enough? I mean, again, we're not the authority. You're only hearing this podcast because you want to hear two people who've been selling on eBay for a while and how we're dealing with our business. That's the only reason why you want to hear this,
Right. Well, I will say this. Last week was when we recorded this podcast. We went to go do some errands, and we went to a friend's house, and we were like, oh, we're not going out next week. Right. we at that moment, we realized how serious it was, even in our rural community.
Right. I think all of us globally, the news is changing day by day. So, But to be clear, this coronavirus, this COVID-19 virus is super serious. It's like a generational event. They call it a black swan event.
Yes.
Because it came out of the blue that no one could have figured out. People are dying right now. People will continue to die. And it's a gut punch, a double gut punch. And also its recession is very likely to come that will affect each other financially. And honestly, both of those things are equally as scary.
Right. One by itself is scary.
Right. But, we, Jay and Ryan, we must also just figure out our own lives, just like you have to, and this is what you're hearing now is how we're going to deal with this.
I think one of the scariest things that happened this week was everything, it felt pretty slow, but the entire country, state by state, county by county, city by city, just started shutting down. So for small businesses, that is devastating. I mean,
right.
It happened so fast. It was on off.
Right.
I'm getting, because we're part of a lot of local small business, Main Street, downtown revitalization groups. And it was just so shocking. It was just
Right. It's not like people had 6 weeks to be like, okay, it's coming. Let's prepare. Let's save money. Let's deal with it. Just on a Monday, it's one way. On Tuesday, no one's showing up. We have to close down,
And so this week was St. Patrick's Day, and it was spring break, and it was supposed to be in a lot of places restaurant week. Just everything closed.
And, I think for us, it's we've talked about it in the past. But when things were good, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, Jay, whatever. But, we really do live our life without a safety net. As small business owners, there is no safety net here. If money doesn't come in because we don't make money in our business or because we haven't saved up cash, our mortgage isn't getting paid and whatever. That's just the way it is. And I see even with people we know, I kind of envy now the people that have full-time salaried jobs and they work in businesses where there's really not a lot of chance that they're going to get laid off. So they get to stay at home, they have paid time off, and they're still getting paid no matter what. And I think those people can see the world a little bit differently. And for those of us, I mean, if you work in a service industry or if you run your own business, I mean, yes, you need to stay at home and isolate and be safe and not spread the disease, but also you have to figure out how to pay your bills.
Yep.
It's super scary. I mean, even the government's like, they're just now kind of coming up with this package where I think the last thing I saw, it's going to be like $2,000 payments over a couple of months for every adult, which is cool. It's like $1 trillion
it's huge.
Aid package. It's a huge amount of money, but really, if you think about it, $1,000 a month isn't a lot of money for people. It's nothing.
It's not nothing, but there are...
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And what happens if, I'm reading these doctors talk about people having to self-isolate for 6 months. I
mean, that sounds impossible.
What if you have to do it until there's a vaccine?
And that's a
year. Like, how, so I understand in a perfect world, we can all just turtle up. We can all sit in our homes in our, in like a pod and never go out and we, help not spread the disease. But like, that's just not a reality. Even for us, so we sell on eBay, which we'll talk about, but we also have these Airbnb businesses, and we're still renting to people who are trying to isolate out in the country.
Right.
And we have to clean that laundry.
Yeah.
Sheets people sleep in, like...
Well, and clean the houses.
Right. And it's not... That's not ideal.
Right.
Because what if one of those people are sick? We try and wear gloves. We have like alcohol spray as we're touching this stuff. But like, we have to do that because we need that income.
Yeah. Right? Like we have mortgages and we're like... I was reading there might be some mortgage relief happening, which is got to happen. I mean, the economy will just completely collapse if that doesn't happen. But it's just like you said. I mean, there are so many people that do not have the choice to just not do anything.
I mean, I don't know how it is in other countries if there's a lot more safety nets for people.
Some countries.
Things stop. But in America, that is not the truth.
No.
I mean, there is no safety net. And so I really sympathize with everyone that is having to wake up every day and make these decisions, when to go out, when not to go out, what level of risk you're willing to put out. Like
my sister works at a grocery store. She says it's madness.
Yeah. And they're actually paying her double overtime, and they're paying her $2 more an hour. So that's good. She's getting paid more, but she talks about it being very, very stressful.
Yeah, very, very stressful, very scary. People are quitting. People are getting sick.
Right.
Like, it's just like, but what can you do?
Yeah.
She's like, I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my bills.
Right. So, yeah. So for us, and for anyone who sells on eBay for a living with nothing else, if services are not rendered, you don't get paid. If no one buys, you don't get paid.
Right.
And all we have is what we've prepared for. So hopefully you've been saving. And no one is going to help us if things get too bad or we didn't prepare well,
Yeah. I mean, these are the situations that a lot of people who are listening to this podcast and a lot of the like financial independence groups, and the tiny house, frugal living people. I mean, this is exactly what we've been preparing for. I'm not saying we're totally prepared, because we are not. I mean, we do have savings. We do have food stocked up, yes. But ever since 2008, since the economy crashed, and we were like, well, we should just make sure we always have food in the pantry, like dried food, and, prepare yourself for those situations. And right now we're like, okay, that's been really, really helpful, you know?
And, we have to balance fear.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear.
Having a lot of healthy concern and fear versus just getting stuff done. That has to happen. Being paralyzed is the thing we don't have a luxury to do. And as I said a week ago, I really think like this is a time for it to bring out the best in everyone and not the worst. So like we live in a little neighborhood. I mean, it's a community of 100 houses where we're not connected to a town, so we run a community well. The neighborhood does. We maintain our own paved roads, people pay in every month, and then we got to keep that going. So like that's one thing. We're just making sure our little 100 house community is okay, where everyone is getting what they need to make sure the water's still going. So if everyone's just kind of taking care of their own little thing, if you live in a building in an urban area, just make sure everyone in your building's okay, and that's how we're going to get through this.
I think it's important.
I think the hardest part for me is just to stay in one place, not physically in the house.
Yeah.
Because it kind of feels like snow days in a way, right?
Yeah, sort of like
where
that.
The whole world's kind of stopped. I just don't like to stand still, like, in our lives.
Yeah.
Like, we are the kind of people where we kind of are going.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a shock.
We're renovating. We stopped all of our renovations. We stopped this business we were building. We stopped that for the time being.
Yeah,
put it on
we
hold.
Had to.
Our whole its motto has always been like, do a little bit every day. Take 10 pictures every day.
Right.
Well,
it feels like we went back to basics because we had to stop renovating, like you said. We had to stop building this other business. We kind of are slowly, but it's on pause. And I just started doing eBay stuff. I mean, we were like, okay, we'll finish our inventory. We have a bunch of stuff to inventory. I still have a bunch of stuff that actually needs to be photographed and listed. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what it was before, before we started expanding.
Right. I mean, what's scary to me is like, we had all these plans. I mean, we were actually implementing them.
Yeah.
But it's like, are we going to have to put everything on hold for 2020 or for a year from now into 2021? I don't know. So yeah, what did we do this week? I made a mega to-do list.
Yeah.
Of stuff we can do without needing any money at all.
Right.
Ryan doesn't know about this list. I've shared some of it with her.
This is
so much to do that we can do.
See, I don't get a break. It's like this pandemic happens and I'm like, oh, finally. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it definitely does help me sort of like go back to just basic business, and I'm sure your list started with that because we were like, we can inventory, we can organize, let's go through, I'm like getting rid of stuff that's like broken.
Right. So we've been every day, we've been talking about this, we've been doing our 8,200 item inventory. We've been slowly doing that. Yeah. And every day now we go back and we do like a shelf. Yeah. Because the shelves,
so I had my helper helping with inventory and bins, but the shelves are what you and I need to do. And even I was literally saying, this is my nightmare.
It's just like an open shelf with like cardboard laid down with just like plates and cups and little figurines.
Like so crazy.
But if we say these 60 items are on the shelf, then it will be easy to find. And so we're just doing
it's already
so much easier. I made a budget for the next 6 months to make sure if we didn't make any income at all for the next 6 months, that we could pay all of our bills. And so we can do that.
Okay.
Which is
that makes me, I don't even want to look at that. I don't even want to look at it.
It's okay.
But I believe you.
Yeah.
So
we started, it was springtime anyway, or starting to be springtime. We started our gardens. I have garlic that's already coming up. I planted a bunch of seeds. I
had done some planting on like landscaping bushes, like kind of like privacy hedges. So I went and actually planted those in the yard. I still have some more to do. Like some of the days this week, it was kind of heartbreaking because there were several days this week that were chilly, but there was 2 days that were 75 degrees and sunny out. It was the most gorgeous, beautiful spring day. And I think I was sad because we run Airbnbs. So I'm like, these are the kind of days where people come from the city and they go hiking and they love it. And just like,
and I mean, like for those people that run businesses that depend on like customers, like people,
Yeah.
like a restaurant, or for us, like Airbnbs. Like this was right at the beginning of
The season.
the season where we make the most amount of money, and we've had quite a few cancellations, which completely makes sense.
Yeah.
But we've also been having people actually book coming out of urban areas, wanting just to come for 2, 3, 4 days to go hiking,
to isolate.
I don't know. People can feel good or bad about that, but we're happy that that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel both ways about that. I'm like, everyone I'm talking to online, I'm like, don't leave your house, but please come rent our Airbnb. It's like, well, how can you?
Mainly because, they're coming from an hour or two away. They get in their car, they come to our house, they have an electronic door code. If they bring their own food, they can cook.
Exactly.
They just go hiking. I don't know. I mean, again, it's like we're all making these choices of like, can you just hide in your bedroom for the next 6 months? I don't know. And then Ryan doesn't know this yet, but after this podcast, we're going to harvest our honey. So.
Oh yeah. That's why we went to a friend's house before this all started, was to get the honey harvester.
Yeah.
Our beehive died.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
But we have a ton of honey. Actually, it was funny. I'm looking at like the stuff we have to harvest. It's in our living room, and I was like, okay, well, that's like a huge resource to have. Like if we run out of like sweet stuff or a sweetener, I mean, we have like 10 gallons of honey.
Gallons and gallons of honey.
We can even like share it with neighbors if we needed to.
So specifically eBay, a week ago I was like, some of our auctions are like, please come because nobody's coming. And now all the auctions are like, nobody come.
Don't come.
So auctions are closed down. People are talking about estate sales being closed down. I mean, yard sales won't be happening.
Yeah, sourcing.
Thrift stores. So, that's a big deal. And that brings me to just us.
Yeah.
I think what's working for us is that our inventory is huge.
Yes.
8,200 items. So that's good.
Yes.
And we actually had gone to a couple of auctions a month ago.
Yeah.
So we probably have 4 or 5 big boxes of little knickknacks that we can still go through, our death pile. We have our own warehouse and ship everything.
Yep.
So that's good. Like
the post office is still open. Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, like people who only sell on Amazon, I think everybody saw this where Amazon's not taking any new inventory unless it's
for FBA.
Yeah. Unless it's in certain categories.
Yeah, like emergency
on the medical, sanitary, and stuff like that.
Which is, it's an emergency. That's got to be.
But our inventory isn't seasonal.
Right.
And it's not deep into any one thing. We have like the broad spread of stuff.
I mean, we can talk about stuff we sold.
And it's good that for us that we don't have a lot of money in our inventory. So like, I didn't spend $50,000 on a shipment of stuff that if I don't sell this, I'm in deep trouble. Like basically our inventory didn't cost us very much at all. And that's why we're okay with it taking a long time to sell. I think this would be a very bad time to start selling online.
Right now.
Just because it'd be hard to scavenge, hard to send anything into Amazon if that's the kind of store you'd want to have. And, this might be a time where it starts flushing sellers out that didn't have a good foundation,
Well, it's like, it's interesting because you could look at it both ways in a way where people are home. Some people are losing their jobs or getting laid off or, having to collect unemployment or something. Are those people going to flood the market with like stuff that they own that they're trying to sell?
That's true. I mean, I guess that is a good time if you're just selling stuff out of your own house for sure.
Like, are we going to see those people like quadruple?
Right. But I think about there have been some new people join our forum, like a couple in Dallas who just had this incredible business where they go every week and they hit a series of thrift stores and they buy athletic shoes.
Right.
That are used and they clean them up and they sell them and they sell a lot.
Yeah.
And they make good money. But the thing is, they're kind of like always on time inventory. Like their business, they don't have a lot of inventory.
Right.
They're going out every week.
And they're moving it quickly.
So what happens now when they can't go out? Or there was a guy in California who, I mean, he's like this high roller who like goes to those outlet malls.
Yes.
And knows athletic, like brand new athletic shoes. Like he knows all the cool hip stuff and he like buys them and then flips them and makes a lot of money too.
And probably flips them quick.
And what happens? Yeah. So those are going to be tough online sellers. I'd love to hear how those people are dealing with it.
Well, you know, we were just talking about this right before we started the podcast where we were kind of like, you know, it's tough because we can't scavenge. And a lot of people are saying this. The thrift stores are closed. Everything's closed. There are no estate sales. There's no yard sales. Well, there might be yard sales. I doubt it, though. But, yeah, so I had to buy some stuff on eBay from another seller. And I was like, let me just make them an offer. This is an offer I would have made at any time anyway. Like, would you do this much for each one? I'll buy all of them because I need them for something. And instead of him counter offering, which I was like, he's going to counter offer, no doubt. This is like the rock bottom price. He was like, yep, totally. I will take $3 for shipping.
So online sourcing could be a thing.
And a good thing about that is if you're sourcing, maybe buying in bulk from other sellers on eBay, you're helping that ecosystem and a small business person. So like you're saying about Amazon, if there's stuff that you can buy from small sellers on eBay where you would normally go to Amazon, that needs to happen because that will help all of us.
So
I'll take a deal.
So all of the Amazon people are like, what about me? I'm a small seller.
I mean, it's true, but maybe they can sell that stuff on eBay.
Well, I assume too, I wonder if a lot of people that sell Amazon FBA will just allow their FBA inventory to keep selling out, but then if they'll just start to become a third party seller.
Like a third party ship it themselves.
Yeah, ship it themselves.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, Canadian eBayers, you know, I noticed like a lot of people in Canada sell exclusively to Americans, like because I guess our postal rates are a lot cheaper.
They go over the border to ship
and we have
things.
a lot more, so it's people, Canadians who live right at the border, and you know, a couple times a week they drive over, and then they go to a American post office and ship everything. And I guess now the border's closed, and it's unclear. A couple of sellers were like, "Yeah, this is not going to happen anymore." So,
wow.
I do think it's interesting. I wonder, like, is a Canadian market just not in existence, or can you not sell things?
How many people are in Canada? Isn't it 30 million?
Something like that.
That's not very many people.
Yeah.
You know,
it's small, but
that can't be the right number. People are going to laugh at me.
Yes. How many people?
How many? Siri.
No, it's like it's true. It's like how many people in Canada? 37.59 million people. So, you know, like 40 million people. You're close.
I was close. Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, that's going to be a big hit for people.
Yeah, you'd hope. It's almost like you'd hope that Canada Post would, like, do some discount or something.
I mean, I bet Canada Post is just charging the real price.
Yeah,
I still think the American Post Office is subsidized, as I think it should be. I think
it should be,
the
too.
Postal system is a vital part of infrastructure, just like our roads. And, you know, I think you see commercial prices, it's FedEx. And UPS.
And
that's
DHL.
how much it costs to actually ship things.
When you're like, wow, why is it? Oh, okay,
Right.
You know.
So, okay, one thing, I've mentioned this before, but we have more data. And I know everyone loves data.
Yes.
So we're doing our inventory.
Yes.
We're like 3/4 of our way through inventory.
We're almost done.
8,200 items.
Yeah.
So we've done, you know, like 6,000 items.
Yeah.
When we started this process, there were some sellers who said that eBay was taking items out of their inventory. Yes. That when they would do an inventory, they would see up to 10 and 20% of their items was not on eBay.
Yeah.
That they would be like, I have ghost inventory on, it's my shelves. eBay's tearing stuff, you know, taking stuff out of my thing.
And I don't disbelieve those people, just to state that.
Right. It's not like it might not have happened.
Right.
But the reasons, I think, are becoming clear to us. So after 6,000 items, we are not seeing any ghost inventory. I think we had one plastic bin full of items that we couldn't find on eBay.
And most of them had an explanation. Most of them, I would do my research in my email, on my backup hard drive, and I have like a Google Drive of like all our listings from a certain number on, whatever. And I would be like, oh yeah, this is why. Or let me extrapolate why.
So why don't we do some examples?
So like there were a couple things that were like, in air quotes, low dollar items. Now I'm like fine with that.
Garbage.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, you took a picture of it, you wrote a description, and then I looked up the price and I'm like, oh, this only sells for $13.99. Well, I would definitely list that now.
Right. And back in those days, you put it aside, it got put on the shelf, and it never got a list.
It accidentally got put in a bin.
Or we would find items where it got sold and sent back to us.
And I never relisted it.
We just put it back on the shelf.
Right. Another thing was I had a series of like 4 vintage like military pamphlets. And this was like a couple years ago. I distinctly remember thinking, I need to research these 5 booklets a little bit more before I list them. And I just never listed them.
Yeah.
So here they are sitting here years later.
So I don't think we had a single item where we were like this. This
is a total mystery.
Reason. And so my hypothesis, which I think is strengthening, is that people who have, as many ghost items in their inventory that they say eBay is taking off, I really believe it's their own fault.
It's user error.
It
could be user error.
I'm not blaming, no one's a victim here. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of people who manage their inventory very actively. Where every month they're like taking all their inventory off. And they do it brand new.
Yep.
Or they do it day to day, and I just feel stuff falls through the cracks.
Yep.
And
it's a bummer because there were things that were not listed for several years that I was like, this is a high dollar, like cool vintage. I'm just so. And I remember one of the items was someone bought it and then they canceled it or didn't pay or whatever. And I must have just not relisted it. And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah. But that's the one good thing about doing inventory is we've touched we're touching every single item. Some of them we're changing the prices a little bit, or we're changing keywords.
I went through purses today, and some of them were a little more damaged than I realized. And they were listed as such, like here's the damage. And I'm like, this isn't, it doesn't even have a brand name. Like, just give it to the thrift store. So
I will say we really haven't taken a whole lot of inventory out because it's been junk. No. We have brought some prices down. But that's about it. So we had asked about QuickBooks Online a week ago.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of good emails, and we got, I think, a couple calls too that were here. So I think I would like to try, or I'd like to try QuickBooks because with Wave accounting we talked about,
I'm having a problem.
So we went from GoDaddy bookkeeping, which just for us stopped really being helpful because so many of our accounts weren't syncing, and GoDaddy was just like, yep, it's just
they're not updating that software.
We went to Wave, which we're currently on now, and they just do not sync with PayPal.
It's so crazy because everything else works great. Like all our credit cards, all our bank accounts, like everything comes in and I can categorize it. PayPal will not sync. It will sync, but you have to like tell it to do so. And it's not, the other thing about Wave, which is weird, you'll tell it to learn something. Hey, if it's called this, always categorize it, and it won't do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is so
it's
crazy.
Free.
It's free.
It's a nice interface, and we can make it work for right now, but I think we're going to now try QuickBooks. It's affordable enough.
Well, the bummer for me is, so it's almost April, so that means I need to redo every single thing in QuickBooks. But if it works, then it's worth it.
The sooner we do it.
I know, the sooner we do it. I mean, it's just, look, I'm stuck in my house for the next 6 months, so it should be fine.
The other thing is, I remember eBay I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. So eBay did these updates, I think, in the spring. And one of the things was that, you could make a separate like account for a helper.
I started. So the problem is I just researched that as we are like not having our helpers come over. So I kind of like, so you send an email to the helper or the other person to be like, hey, you can have like certain access to this account, and they log in with their eBay account, I guess.
Oh,
but I don't know how it works because I sent the email and then we were like, okay,
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it was like we could drop off bins and have her take pictures.
Oh, I didn't even think of
home.
that.
It's just my question is, I don't know, maybe
That's true.
I don't know what kind of access does she have? Like, can she work from home on her own internet network, or does she have to be on our network?
No, it's a good question. Well, you know what I should do is I should message her because I sent her an invite, but I didn't see anything, so I need to just because here's the thing. I want my workers to be working, but if they are staying home and not going out, I don't want to make them come over here.
Right.
And that's what we talked about. You know, I'm like, I want you guys to work. If you're staying at home,
like,
I can't make you leave.
I would feel comfortable with dropping off like bins to her. And she just take pictures and just clock her hours. And then we pick them up. I mean, but I would just want to make sure she has the kind of access that she can do that. And not, too much access. Like the whole point is she's not able.
Yeah, she's not like on our account.
Right now when she's working in our office, she has full access to our eBay store.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, and part of the issue was for some reason my browser on the computer she's using, the little laptop, kept signing me out and it wasn't saving the password. So I'd be like at doing something driving. I was driving the other day and she's like, oh, eBay signed me out and the password's not saved. So I'm like, I literally pulled the car over because I was like, I can't just have her sit there and not be able to access eBay. So she was able to like on the thing say, text me a temporary code, stuff like that, where you're like, if you get signed out and I'm not available, I can't figure it out.
So is that fixed? Because I know we're working.
I fixed it because, that was actually one of the reasons why I was like, you need your own like access to this because this can't happen again. I think what it was Chrome doesn't like to save passwords unless you're signed in as like a user on Chrome. So I signed in, I made like a new user on Chrome and like just saved the eBay password.
Do we have a second eBay account where we could invite as a user so we could see ourselves?
Yeah, I do actually.
We should do that.
Yeah, that's smart.
I'm gonna
just to test it.
Ooh, that's smart.
That's something.
Wow.
Jay's like,
wow, I had a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to send you.
I will. You know what? I will text her too and be like, because that is how we're doing things. We're like, here's a bin. See how much time it takes you, and obviously, I will pay you for your time.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So because that could be okay. The other thing is, and this might help people. Ryan found this out. PayPal working capital.
Yes, it was on Reddit actually, on the flipping subreddit. If you have a PayPal working capital loan, you can call them and defer payments for 30 days. So, our sales have been slow and some people's sales have completely dropped off a cliff. And if you can recover a percentage of what you are making and not have to pay back PayPal for a month, it's not like a regular loan where if you stop paying for a couple months, you're still like accruing interest or whatever. It's like you've already paid your fee.
It's like we took out a PayPal loan about a year ago and they take, and you can choose what amount they take out every month. We chose 30%.
It's the highest percent.
So that way it pays off quicker and they don't take as much of a fee.
Yeah.
And so you called and they put it on hold.
Within 5 minutes, they put it on hold.
And actually the people on that forum said, and tell PayPal to stop it for 90 days.
Well, I didn't say that because I was just grateful to get them to... But you can actually call back, and I'm sure they're going to hear from a lot of people, in a month, be like, you still got to hold my payments, you know. We might be okay, but it is helpful to have that extra 30% back, for paying for bills.
Yeah. I mean, if this really goes on for a long time, I think that's the only way society is going to keep going. Like in 2008, all the help was for the banks. And I think I really see it publicly online where people are like, if there's going to be any help, it's got to be for
individuals,
normal working people, either, checks, stopping a mortgage.
Right.
Don't turn off water and electric.
Yep.
Like it's really
that's what I've been seeing is, municipalities are like wanting to shut off water and electric, and people are like, you cannot do that right now. This is a serious emergency. Like people need that.
So let's talk about our eBay store specifically, our numbers. I feel like our mantra this week was, I hope something sells today.
Oh my God.
That was the mantra, I think, for our entire decade, this whole eBay story. Just like,
hope something sells today.
So we actually had a pretty good week.
How is that possible?
Which is really weird. We sold 40 items for $1,337.16. Leet.
Leet. It literally is.
Yeah.
Leet.
So that was surprising, So
that is surprising. And there was one day where one like $9 thing sold. So I was like, oh God, is this how it's
And really,
be?
it wasn't anything, I think the highest thing we sold was $75 a pair of vintage cowboy boots. I mean,
thank God.
It was just really the breadth of our store's categories shine through. It was just a mix of everything. Pottery, shoes, T-shirts, a little pottery bell, just like so all weird. These little weird knickknacks, like a magnifying glass for an old photography
camera thing.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, so weird. But I think also we have to remember, because when sales came to a stop, I think it was like Friday, we do have to remember, like you said last week, there are people who have a steady income. Like there are a lot of us who do not have a steady income. And the people who do have they're at home, but they're going to get a paycheck and they're not going to lose their jobs, or they have Social Security or a pension or retirement, whatever. Those are the people that I think will be able to keep us afloat, who are buying things.
Yeah, I mentioned this a week ago, our experience from 2008 and selling on eBay. We have to remember, number one, I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. But also, we have to remember that this is not societal collapse. There are people that have jobs. A lot. Most people still have jobs.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, that get just monthly checks from, either a military pension, job pension, Social Security. They get payments that are not stopping because again, our government isn't collapsing. And so people are still buying. But that's also why even when things were good, I always would mention, what is a minimum we have to make it every week. And I hope everyone's doing those budgets for themselves. Yeah. I know it's so crystal clear, and probably everyone who hears this, we need to gross $1,000 a week on eBay to keep the bills paid. And we made, $1,300. So
that's helpful.
That's great. We didn't do any scavenging.
No.
Customer issues. We had a couple of returns, and one of them was it was totally our fault. It was like a wool bathrobe. And he was like, this is a little more damage than you said. And he sent it back, and I look at it. There are all these moth holes.
I think we just didn't see it. Well, the other problem with this listing is, was it a year ago? It was like a year ago in July where this thing happened on eBay where anything that was relisted on the 21st of July, all the photos were deleted.
Right.
And sometimes it was only one photo was left. This was one of those listings. I don't know. It just got lost. I tried to fix all those listings. This one was just one that got caught up in that error. And so there was one photo of it.
Right.
So we said there was damage. There were no other photos even showing that
I forgot that process. So you were able to click a button and eBay would show you everything that had a single photo, and then you either had to go back onto Google search, right? And pull everything off and update.
I had to retake photographs. Actually, I found two more once that happened. I found a couple more pairs of shoes that I need to pull out and add photos to.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was eBay that told us about. I think it was like that.
Yeah,
that
there was
third part. I used that software the other day.
IsDeck or whatever.
IsDeck
Yeah.
Net.
Right.
I actually used that software the other day to see if we had any others, and these other two shoes popped up. So,
but that was a return, totally our fault.
Yeah, so
that buyer should get every single.
Yeah,
penny
I sent them their money back, and I think so. It was a genuine vintage Pendleton like tartan plaid wool robe.
Yeah.
So I think I'm actually, because that's like really beautiful fabric, I think I'm going to relist it as fabric. Like show the damage, show what it is, but it's like a named tartan plaid.
So maybe people can cut little pieces.
Make it into a scarves or something.
Okay, things we learned on the forum. So it was an interesting with some good conversations. One was people was just talking about their week and people saying, it started out strong and kind of slowed down. We kind of saw that, but not so much. But people were talking about what kind of things they were selling.
Yes.
Specifically, people were talking about puzzles, toys, homeschool books, and books in general, which makes a lot of sense. People are home and
people are homeschooling kids.
It's funny. I remember puzzles, especially when we were still selling on Amazon. We would like find sealed puzzles at thrift stores and send them in, and I'd be surprised how
people would buy them,
how well they sold.
Yeah,
but on eBay, people are saying they even sell open box puzzles, and they'll actually do the puzzle.
Oh,
take a picture of it.
That's so smart.
And sell it.
That makes so much sense because I'm not willing to do the puzzle, so I just don't get those anymore.
I guess people say they got kids or grandkids.
Yeah, so it's fun.
Like, it's like their kids are doing their work for them, which is cool.
That's a really cool idea.
But that is cool.
That's funny.
Okay, let's go to the comments or questions that people sent in this week.
You can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. Or you can call our voicemail line and leave a message. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hi guys, I just wanted to tell you about my experience with QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks Self-Employed and I absolutely freaking love it. It does integrate PayPal, your bank account, credit cards, Amazon. I use it for my Etsy shop, and that's great because it pulls in everything, categorizes it by whether it's an advertising fee or all that jazz. It's just really awesome. Works exactly how it's supposed to. Let's see, you can automatically categorize certain purchases. So when you snap a picture of a receipt, it will automatically read it. Then you can go in and categorize it and, mark it, always categorize things from this place as a certain thing or categorize this purchase the same. So it'll do it automatically for you. The awesomest thing is the mileage tracker. You just give it permission to use your location, and whenever you go anywhere, you don't have to start a trip or anything like that on there. Whenever you go anywhere, it just knows. And then every once in a while, I go in there and mark whether or not trip was personal or business just by swiping. And so no more logs, and which is wonderful. It also does quarterly tax estimator. It allows you to pay your quarterly taxes through them. And then I think my subscription came with free federal and state filing as well through the Intuit TurboTax or whatever. And it's the easiest thing ever. It sends your everything over to TurboTax, and most of the stuff is already populated in there. I didn't have to enter maybe 3 lines of random stuff in there because I had to take a weird home office deduction. Anyway, I did my own taxes this year, and that was great. So anyway, I can't say enough good stuff about it. Again, mine was QuickBooks Self-Employed, and it's around $10 a month, I think. All right, good luck finding something, guys.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to check out QuickBooks. I think also it seems affordable. You know, it's not free like Wave, but if it works.
I mean, I think some people had emailed us and they said for what we're doing, we could probably get away with the under $20.
Yeah.
Because we don't need to send out invoices or whatever.
I just need to keep track of my,
That's a big thing for us, and I think for anyone that sells on eBay. I need something that syncs to all of our bank accounts and PayPal and eBay, brings all those transactions in, and then we teach it what's what, and then it just automatically does that. And then once a month, be able to go through and check out all the transactions that month and keep teaching it. And so that way, at the end of the year, we can just push a button and then everything's good.
Yeah, and then at the end of the year, like you said, I have all my categories for my accountant, and I'm like, these are these expenses, this is this income. These are my numbers,
So I guess what we could do is just sign up for the account and just try it out.
Let's try
and if it doesn't work, you just cancel it and lose that $10 or whatever,
I'm sure there's a trial period too. Usually they have like a 30-day trial. Right. So I'll try it out and I'll tell people.
At no cost to me. Cool.
Hello, Scavenger Life. A long-time listener, first-time caller. My name is Laura. I feel really cheesy doing this right now, but that's okay. I love your podcast, and I've noticed in the past that you were doing the What Did We Cook This Week segment, and I think now that people are home a lot more, maybe they're really inspired and just got an Instant Pot and want to learn how to use it, and I wish that you would share some of your recipes a little bit more. I really appreciate all the work that you guys do all the time. Thank you so much. Bye.
It's funny she called it an Instapot because I always call it that too, but it's not called. It's an Instant Pot. Instapot. So Instant Pot and air fryer for the win.
Yeah, the air fryer is something new we've added to our.
I love it.
Our life. It's basically like the Instant Pot, but just for frying. It's just like a little thing. It's we have the small one, so it cooks basically. It's like a personalized meal.
It's great.
And it's just got like a heating element above and then a fan, and you stick in anything in there, meat, vegetables, and it roasts it.
I love it.
And it's like, so you can make, like, I hate green beans, right? Because they're mushy and they're gross. These air fried green beans, they're like little French fries.
So I eat low carb, so I don't eat French fries. So that's like my French fry equivalent is like air fried green beans. Yeah. They're delicious. So I just ate those. Last week before the whole country shut down, we went up and stocked up at Walmart. Plus we have a ton of stuff just in our pantry and in our freezer is stocked. So we've been eating that stuff. We have this grocery outlet in the next big town over, and I just buy chicken sausages there in massive bulk. I eat on those constantly. Yeah. That's like my go-to.
Yeah. So we could totally share things we.
What did you cook this week?
Things we cooked. I guess I kind of just stopped doing it because I find myself being like a cook where I can share
something.
I'm just kind of like a trash cooker.
Yeah, totally.
We buy things that are on sale, things that look good. We like
things we can freeze,
like non-processed stuff. It goes in our fridge or freezer. I pull out like a combination of things and then just figure out it's all good. Fry up some cabbage, put some chicken in there. It's like
some
quinoa.
Things. So some things we noticed that other people weren't buying at the grocery store were cabbage and cauliflower. I mean, they might have been restocking them, but I was like, oh, people don't want these, but they last forever in the fridge, and you can air fry both of them. Like I air fry cauliflower. So if you eat low carb, cauliflower is like a whole thing, cauliflower, rice cauliflower mac and cheese. And I do not like cauliflower very much. No matter how you disguise it, you're still like, ugh. Yeah. But air fried cauliflower is awesome. I love it.
For the record, I do eat carbs.
Yes.
But I also just don't eat processed food. So I eat just fresh carbs. Rice and quinoa.
You made beans, you made quinoa.
Yeah,
Quinoa is good. Yeah. I actually did have some of that.
What?
I weighed it so it wasn't like too many carbs.
But if you look good, Ryan, if you look healthier,
You know why?
Why?
Apple Watch.
Yep.
Apple Watch.
Because
Exercise.
why? Oh, yeah.
I exercise every day.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that's look, we both cooked fried onions and cabbage, and you cooked chicken and I cooked tofu. That was our dinner last night.
I feel like a grandpa, yeah.
Eat your cabbage, kids.
Fried cabbage is good,
Well, cabbage, here's the thing about cabbage. Number 1, it's cheap. Number 2, it lasts forever in the fridge. Number 3, it's very versatile.
It just tastes like it's whatever you cook it with. So
yeah, I like cabbage.
Okay, thanks everyone for being here this week. Really, it is a very serious time. So it's like two things. Very serious. We should feel, our hearts go out to everyone who's actually experiencing illness and real pain in their lives. But on the other hand, we each have to take care of our own families and personal lives. So definitely be safe. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com/forum. That's where we hang out. So if you have more time on your hands, come out. Join us. We'd love to hear what you're going through and how it's changing your business. You can call or give us a comment.
Yep. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. If you want to email us an audio file, those always sound great. Or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. Again, the forum is a great place to connect with people. I was feeling all this week really grateful for people on the forum and other groups I'm a part of too, where we would just hop on video conferences because it was no one's seeing each other. Right. So it's a nice connection.
And it's funny. I remember when we first started this podcast, it was 2013,
I think.
But it was after the 2008 debacle craziness. And we, started the podcast to connect to people.
Yeah.
And on our website, on our about page, I even wrote, that we need to take care of each other, and transparency is a key to good culture. Be open, share your process, ideas, tips, and tricks.
Yep.
Choose camaraderie over competition. And now, especially, is when we need to do that.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, all right. Sell trash, be free. This podcast is ending in 3,
2, 1. Wash your hands.